I want to start talking to you like a coach. If I could be in that office with you when a young man sits down across the desk from you there and starts talking to you about numbers and their bench press and their vertical jump, and the next thing that's going to come out of their mouth, if it's not the first thing, is going to be a question about how they can improve their 40 starts or their 40 time. I mean, what are some real good recommendations or things that I should be doing in my programming to really aid that aspect of that combine prep so they can get a good look at when they go to a showcase or get ready for the season when they come in for their 40 conditioning scenario? I mean, how are you using that 40? How important is it for you? And what type of emphasis do you put in that type of conversation?
The number one thing, because we're in the business of helping athletes in their performance, not just on their 40 on their testing. So we will always start with consistency and habits. If you want a better 40, have great habits every time you train it. Have great habits with your nutrition. Stay consistent with your flexibility and mobility work. Stay consistent with your training routine. I can work on your stance. I can work on your mechanics. I can work on these certain things. But if you have poor habits with it and you have poor consistency, it will not matter in the long run. So that's where we always start, and we will always hammer that into any athlete that we're working with. If somebody comes in with us, the great thing about being in a college setting is we're not trying to take a kid and in 6 weeks take him from what he is and prepare him for a combine. We're doing that preparation process for 5 years. And while we're not training specifically for a combine or for pro day or for anything like that, we are consistently preparing those habits so they know how to be successful at whatever they're doing when they're being tested. Now, specifically, I suppose on the 40, we're going to look at the athlete, and, a lot of them, if it's a high school kid coming in, which is funny enough, usually the people that ask that question is, how do I get faster? It's all the 18-year-olds coming in that don't do anything right or do very little right. But anyway, so we start with them as just get stronger, because most of them can't push out of their stance or produce any force. So with so many of them, it's get stronger, get flexible. Then we spend a good amount of time in our winter program where we believe if you want to get faster, well, you got to run fast. We set some stuff up competitively where we put them on the clock and we line them up and run them, whether it's 20 yards, 30 yards, 40 yards, or whatever. But they're in a position where they have to prepare to compete, and then on game day they have to go in there and compete. By running fast and truly putting it out there, we feel that's one of the strongest stimuli for developing speed. So while we're getting them strong and while we're working on their flexibility if need be, and while we're doing our jumping or plyos or explosive training, if we want to get faster, well, we're going to run fast. And we're going to put them in a position where they have to do that competitively, so it prepares them for game day and it prepares them when the time comes for the combine or for pro day or for whatever they're running their 40 for. But I think it's a much bigger process than just what are the mechanics of our 40 and what's our progression that we use. Are we training them short to long or long to short? I think it's a little bit bigger than that, especially when we're dealing with kids coming out of high school that really haven't been, most of them have not been pushed to maintain great habits for success. And that's an area that we really, really try to emphasize.